Here I go for this drawing. We are going to build a city in perspective. I am working on a square of 20 by 20 centimeters, and a little below the middle of my paper I drew the horizon line with, in the middle of this horizon line, a point which is the vanishing point. Starting from this vanishing point, I'm going to draw a road. So I draw two lines that allow me to delimit the road, and then, still using this vanishing point, I can draw the dashed lines that we could find in the middle of the road. And the closer they get to the horizon line, the smaller the dashes will become. So I estimate roughly their length to make sure we have a certain consistency. I am going to draw the width of my sidewalk. It is next to the road, and to do that I draw a line that I connect to my vanishing point. So here I have the sidewalk, and now to indicate the thickness, the height of my sidewalk, I add another line like this connecting it to the vanishing point, and it's the shading work we will do later that will create the relief. Now we are going to draw a first building, and we want it aligned with our sidewalk. So for that I can use this same vanishing line like this. And this building is in front of us, so I want it to be really tall. The depth at the top is drawn towards my vanishing point like this. And to close it, I can draw a perfectly straight vertical line. Now I am going to draw another building a little farther away. I don't want it to be attached to the previous one, so it is placed here, and this means that we can see part of the face of the building that is facing us. So I drew a horizontal line and then a vertical line to determine its height, and if I want it to be the same height as the previous one, I use this vanishing line. This way I know that my building must stop at this point. And now when I draw the depth of my building, my depth line is aligned with the one that we made earlier. And so for the depth I use my vanishing point again, connecting it in the direction of the vanishing point. And then we can continue drawing more of them, and the closer we get to the horizon line, the smaller the buildings will appear to us. So we need to pay close attention to that. We can use this upper vanishing point, this upper vanishing line, to make sure that they are all the same height, or we can use it as a reference point to say, if I want to draw one smaller than the previous one, its height will be lower than this vanishing line. Or if I want it to be a little taller, I can also use it for that. Now let's move on to the other side of the street. And here I am not necessarily going to align the building with the sidewalk, because we could imagine, for example, that there are bushes or pipes placed right in front of it. So here I draw a fairly tall building again, just like before, so nothing new here. However, what we can do is imagine another building attached to this one, and so to extend our vanishing line, we draw another vertical line like this. This means that since they are attached, the front face of the second building is not visible. And here I hadn't drawn my vanishing line correctly, so I am correcting that. Then I am going to draw another one that is placed a little further away, in the same way as we did earlier, so we can see its front face like this, which I can draw using a rectangle, or at least part of it. And then the depth using the vanishing point. Now we are going to add another element that we didn't include on the other buildings. For example, a kind of block at the top, not a chimney, but like air conditioning units that we might find on the roof. So we start by drawing this small rectangle, then to close it we draw the vanishing line like this, we determine the depth of our element, and then we close it with a vertical line. And then I will continue this side of the street by drawing our buildings in exactly the same way that we have done so far. Next, we are going to draw trees along the road. So I'm going to draw one right here, and so I start by drawing a basic trunk, just like this, a very thin rectangle, and then all around the trunk I'm going to draw some sort of a square, but still using the vanishing line, of course, for the depth like this. I draw towards the vanishing point, but I'm not using the ruler. When it is some small line like this, we can definitely guess the direction. And then I draw the foliage, and so the foliage will hide a little bit of the building since it is placed up front. Then I'm going to draw 3 vanishing lines, one at the bottom of the trunk, another one at the top of the tree like this, and a third one at the top of the trunk as well. And this will help me to make sure that I can draw different trees but with the same height, approximately like this. And so this way I have another tree that is further away but has approximately the same height as the other one that I drew before. Next, on the buildings, we can add other small elements. We can add windows. We will have vanishing lines that will determine the width of our windows, and then vertical lines for their height. And so I draw the vertical lines and I can close it with another vanishing lines. It is true that my vertical lines are not perfectly straight, it happens, it won't ruin the drawing, but be careful with that when you work. Sometimes we are too focused and we don't necessarily pay attention to whether our lines are perfectly straight. And then to make sure that my windows are aligned, I can draw the same vertical line using my ruler. For the next building and for this part of the building, it will be fairly easy because it is facing us, and so we only need to draw vertical lines and horizontal lines to draw the windows since it is facing us. Now I can draw the windows on the other side of the building, but I don't want to draw them randomly. I want them to be aligned with the previous one, so what I do is place myself underneath to mark a reference point and above the window to mark another reference point. And this way I know that I will need to draw the vanishing line starting from these points. And then for the next one I can use the same technique again, or I can roughly estimate where they will be placed. Alright, in this tutorial we have already covered the essentials. We are not going to add anything more in terms of construction. So from now on we are simply going to add a very quick shading just to give our drawing a bit of realism. The goal is absolutely not to create a masterpiece or to spend hours making something hyper realistic. The purpose was mainly to understand how to build a city in perspective easily, step by step, while respecting the vanishing lines and proportions. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did on the other buildings, which means adding a few windows and some small decorative elements to bring the scene to life a little. But again, we are not looking for perfection, just applying the method and understanding the process. So don't focus too much on the details, instead concentrate on structure, consistency, and of course the pleasure of drawing. So here is the final result of this piece with a little bit of decoration still to add on the other side. And so I hope that you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share in the comments what you thought about it, and above all, practice, because that is really the most important thing to fully understand all of this. So thank you for watching and see you very soon.